Hey everyone, I hope you guys are enjoying Monster Hunter Rise and Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak in whichever platform you're choosing to play it on. And today I wanted to go ahead and cover some recent news that we have regarding the ongoing save corruption issue that has been plaguing players on the PC side of things. If you go back pretty much to the launch of base Monster Hunter Rise on the PC via Steam, and of course now on PC via Windows, there were plenty of save corruption issues to the point that it corrupted people's save data. Some people were able to recoup their saves, some people were able to pull it off from the cloud save data even on Steam, in many formats. But of course, plenty of other people just simply lost tons and tons of content, whether it was 50 hours worth of gameplay, 100 hours worth of gameplay. I've seen people mention 400 or 500 to 1,000 hours worth of their character saves simply being completely gone. Capcom tried to address this in base Rise for the PC. They didn't necessarily do a good enough job, so when they reintroduced Sunbreak, the bug came back, and a whole bunch of more people who now had purchased Sunbreak ended up having the same corruption problems. The same issue happened on the Nintendo Switch very early on for base Rise, but that was quickly corrected. PlayStation players did report having that on the launch of base Monster Hunter Rise just a few months back, but Capcom also corrected that on PlayStation's end. But Steam Sunbreak players have been waiting pretty much for a long time, and it seems like with the latest patch, Capcom has finally been able to, at the very least, try to mitigate this in one way or another. Now, as part of the latest version 15.00 patch, just a few days ago I put out a video discussing most of the more important patch notes. I'm going to be leaving a link in the description below for that if you haven't necessarily checked it out. But of course, it should be live in the game now if you're already playing it. One of the patch notes specifically, there's 3 of them that kind of try to address save corruption problems, at the very least on the Steam side of things. The first one simply clarifies that they fixed a bug causing a could not save message to appear and other players leaves the lobby right when the game is saving in multiplayer. So essentially, if you had a player leave, or if they disconnect or whatever the case is, and your game was saving, it simply just would refuse to save. So then what you needed to do was basically manually trigger the save option before you logged out if you decided to do so. The second patch note is the most important one. We're going to leave that one for last. The third one simply says that they fixed a bug that occasionally causes a crash report to be created right after selecting the quit game from the in-game menu. Now, bugs and crashes have been pretty common on the PC side of things to some degree, especially if you're using mods, although some people seem to claim that the more mods you use, of course the more VRAM you're using at any one given time, maybe it does cause bugs and crashes and eventually save corruption to be more prevalent. However, many people have also reported that they have never used mods whatsoever, yet they still end up running into save corruption problems. Now, we spoke about how it is that you can prevent that. We're going to talk about that at the back end of the video if you, for whatever reason, still are suffering from that. But, now the other patch seems to be addressing that. They mitigated the occurrence of error code MHRS 0034 0036 and MHRS 0034 0002, which involves save data becoming unreadable. And the second one, 0034 0002, is the one that a lot of people were reporting. They would try to boot up the game and simply were prompted up with a notification saying that their save could not be loaded, had been corrupted, if you wish to start a brand new save. Now, of course, a lot of people didn't necessarily know or read the prompt because you're spamming the button to kind of continue, and originally the button prompt was set to yes, so it would just automatically overwrite into whatever save you had, even though it was corrupted, and then it would basically start up at the create a character screen. Capcom noticed this a few patches ago. They decided to change the toggle option to no instead of yes. So even if you were spamming to load in and you saw that corruption error, you simply wouldn't be forced into creating a new save file. Instead, you would just simply keep getting the same prompt over and over. And essentially, people were trying to go into the cloud, see if they could have access to it. If you weren't manually backing up your save, this was the ongoing problem. Now it seems to be on their end, they're trying to mitigate it as best as they can the occurrence at the very least of happening, but they don't necessarily detail what the issue is. Now, if you are still facing save corruption problems, that's not going to fix this specific problem. What it is going to do is that, of course, if you upgrade to the 15.00 patch on PC Steam, you will have maybe a lesser chance to be able to have that save corruption error happening on your end. Now, there's multiple things to clarify on that regard, because, of course, this does not help PC Windows players who are still playing the base version of Monster Hunter Rise. This patch is only available for Sunbreak. This specific version of the patch is only available for Steam players, and base players who are going to get their hands on Sunbreak on the 28th, I believe, April 28th, they're just going to get the patches up until version 3.00. This is, or 13.00, depending on the patch number. This is going to be part of of course, the 15.00 patch. So unless they decide to take this and carry it over to PC Windows as part of and add it to the 13.00 patch notes, I don't necessarily see the Windows players who have reported save corruption as well on their end having this issue mitigated in any way, shape, or form. Now, the benefit to PC Windows is that a lot of players have reported that they simply just, have their save carry over from like Windows to Xbox, it's transferable. And basically they load up their save data on Xbox, playing normally for a little bit. Then they decide, it saves back up to the cloud, and then they go back to the Windows version of the game, and they're able to play it that way. That is one way Xbox and PC Windows has been able to kind of get around this error in the past. But as of right now, it doesn't necessarily seem like this specific patch notes will be addressed on, PC Windows for the time being until 15.00 drops on Windows. Now, for Steam players, does it ultimately fix the problem? There have been some reports that players have not necessarily been, seen any sort of bugs or issues regarding save corruption after the patch. But of course, it's still early days on the patch. We haven't, had a lot of time with it. So maybe that's just early reports. It's, inconclusive as to, how long that's going to stay that way. We don't necessarily know. At the same time, of course, hotfixes could be addressing something like that in the future. We know there's going to be another free title update in June, so maybe more of those fixes will be coming in the future, kind of like stabilizing that altogether, where Nintendo Switch players no longer have save corruption problems. PlayStation players have not had any for quite a while now, for at the very least 2 months now. And of course, now finally Steam players are getting some alleviation with this ongoing issue. Certainly, I will be reporting on any sort of follow-ups or updates heading into the future. If you're brand new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to receive notifications when the videos go up. And as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya.